Well, here is the speech given by Lubavitcher Rebbe in 1991. Kaf Dalet Tammuz, that's right here. Dalet Tammuz. This week's Torah portion. Okay, this week's Torah portion is called Pinchas, and it talks about the dividing up of the land of Israel. It talks about other things also, but it talks about the dividing up of the land of Israel. How the Jews came to before they came to the land of Israel, right? Moses didn't come into Israel with the Jewish people, but Joshua did. And when they came in, they conquered the land. They fought for 7 years, and then 7 more years they took to divide the land up. But how did they know who was going to get what they were supposed to get? So it says that Moses, before they came into the land of Israel, so it seems that the portions were known. It just wasn't known who got which portion. It was divided up into 12 different portions, the land of Israel. But it was not clear, but that was from the prophecy of Jacob. We already knew, basically, but nobody knew exactly which portion they were supposed to get. So, I mean, some of them didn't. Okay, anyway. So it was divided up which portion, but nobody knew which portion. So they came to Moses and said, how we're supposed to divide up the land? So Moses said, well, the biggest tribe gets the biggest amount. He said, but the fact of the matter is you have to divide the land up by, how do you say, lots. Lots, like throwing dice or something like that. Lots. And it says that how did they do, what type of lots were there? They had 2 boxes, and there were the numbers of the areas. Area number 1, area number 2, area number 3, number 4. And the other box, there were the names of the tribes. And they would pull out one from this and one from the other. So it would come out area number 4. This goes to Yisachar, tribe of Yisachar. But also the lots would call out. The lots would say, I am area number 12 and I am Yisachar. The lots themselves would speak. Okay, what seems that's really unnecessary. That's what we're going to talk about. Okay, but first of all, from here we see that the land of Israel was given to the Jewish people. We see the Jewish people. This whole story happened 3,300 years ago. Right, the Jews came into the land of Israel with Joshua, and it was given to them, to the Jews, Bnei Yisrael. They were called Bnei Yisrael. But one of the novelties in our Torah portion, this week's Torah portion, yes, is the dividing, the conquering, and the settling and the dividing of the land of Israel to each and every tribe and to all the Jewish people. Okay, what happened back then? The Jewish people, they got out of Egypt. Let's start from the beginning. The Jewish people, they started out in Egypt. That's where the Jewish people were born, in Egypt. Jewish people were born suffering in Egypt. Why they had to go do that, who knows? God decreed. That's what God decreed. They would have to start off in Egypt. They didn't do anything bad. They were born in Egypt. They didn't have a chance to do anything bad. It wasn't a punishment or something. And God said to Abraham that that's the way it's going to be. So the Jewish people were in Egypt. Altogether, they were there for 210 years in Egypt. Most of those years were years of suffering and etc. and hard work. So God then all of a sudden takes them out of Egypt. That's the story of the Bible, right? Takes them out of Egypt. So Jewish people get out of Egypt. That's all the Jewish people. That's the whole entire Jewish nation. So there's a lot of the Jews didn't want to leave Egypt. They died in the plague of darkness. But there was, let's say, 3 million Jews got out of Egypt, and they all received the Torah. And then, okay, whatever reason it was that they wandered around the desert for 40 years, and then they came to the land of Israel. This is a really amazing, hard to believe story. Every Jew you see around today, every Jew, that there is today, their great grandparents were at Mount Sinai. Even the converts, says the converts have Jewish souls. There's a Jewish soul in a non-Jewish body. All of us got out. Everyone Jew that's a Jew today was among the Jews that got out of Egypt. A relative among the Jews got out of Egypt, and there's also what's called reincarnation. So we can also say that they were the generation of they actually got out. Were the souls of those people. However it is, that's what a Jew is one of those people that got out of Egypt. Bnei Yisrael. Yisrael was the third son of Jacob. I'm sorry. Jacob was the third of our fathers of Judaism. Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and he got his name changed to Yisrael. And Yisrael had 12 sons. Those 12 sons became the 12 tribes, and they went down into Egypt, and they were fruitful, and they multiplied over there in Egypt. And that's the sons of Israel. That's the Jewish people, Bnei Yisrael. When we came to the land of Canaan, now it became called Eretz Yisrael, because it was given to Yisrael. It was given to, okay. So it says the same thing is happening right now. The reason that happened to the Jews back then is because it's going to happen again. Huh? How's it going to happen again? We're going to be exiled again. We're all going to be taken into what? We're going to be all prisoners in where? In Scotland or something? Where are we going to be? What does it mean? We're supposed to be prisoners again. It says don't worry, we are prisoners. We already are prisoners. It is not a political imprisonment. It's a godly imprisonment. We're not aware of the Creator. We're not free to serve the Creator because we're in exile. We're in exile. We don't know what God is, or even that God is. We don't know what a Jew is. We don't know what the Torah is. We don't feel any godliness. That's called being in exile, just like the Jews were in exile in Egypt. And Moshiach, just like Moses took the Jews out of Egypt, Moshiach is going to take us out of this ignorance, this pall of ignorance, which is they say covered the world. A lack of awareness of truth and meaning and God and etc. What Torah is. So says the Rebbe, we are now standing at the edge of the future redemption, the complete redemption. Right? Moses took the Jews out of Egypt, brought them to this, but it wasn't a complete redemption. The Jewish people still never went out of their egotism. Moving like it's understood for all the signs of the redemption is moving, so it's understood. So the call of Rosh, the first thing is Yeshno Mizeh. There is a special teaching regarding to conquering and inhabiting and dividing the land of Israel in the future redemption. We have to divide it up now also. How are we going to divide it up? What does that mean? Of okay, even since that we are now one moment before the redemption, right? This redemption is going to be such an amazing, massive change in all consciousness of the world. It's going to happen in one instant, but it hasn't happened yet. And therefore we are in a thick, deep, dark exile. But any second, lights are going to go on. So it's understood that we have to learn from this, a special learning even now, since the Torah is eternal, and it is an eternal teaching for all the times and for all places. We can say, according to what the Tzemach Tzedek, the third Rebbe of Chabad, he said to a Jew that wanted to come to the land of Israel, and he wanted to learn Torah in the land of Israel, and he wanted to pray in the land of Israel. What did he say? There's a mistake over here, a printing mistake. It should say Mach da Eretz Yisrael. The mistake is it should be an aleph here, and the reason is that there's the mistake over here is because of fingers, human fingers. If you look at your what's called the play, what is it called? What is this thing called? The board of letters. So we see that in Hebrew, the letter Resh is right next to the letter Aleph. If you have it in your keyboard of the typing keyboard, so an Aleph is right next to Resh. So instead of typing the letter Aleph, they type the letter Resh. Okay, it should be an Aleph. Small point. So it says Mach da Eretz Yisrael. Make here the land of Israel. Asa kan Eretz Yisrael. Huh? So the Tzemach said the third Rebbe of Chabad, he lived in Lubavitch. Lubavitch is where is Belarus, White Russia. Anyway, so he lived over there, very far away from the land of Israel. Everybody knows what the land of Israel. All the religious people for sure know what the land of Israel is, right? The land of Israel is spoken about. Who knows how many times it's mentioned in the Torah? 100 times, 1,000 times, 10,000 times. However it's mentioned, the land of Israel is mentioned. Everybody knows where it is. Everybody knows. And this Chassid wanted to go there. What's wrong with that? And he said to him, "Make here Israel. Make Israel here in Lubavitch, White Russia, wherever it is." How could he say a thing like that? Does that make any sense? We're going to explain this. Heyoch is a super, since this is a story, and it's an advertised story. The previous Lubavitcher Rebbe advertised it, and it's advertised for every single Jew. So move, and it's understood from this, Nasa Hara, there must be some sort of a teaching for every Jew. Shagam Kasher, that even when we are found here, outside of Israel, Ubizman Galut, in the time of exile, even if it happens to be the last instant of exile, so you have to make where you are to make the land of Israel. Oh. Okay, now that, of course, this will make a lot of Zionists very angry, religious Zionists very, irate. How could you say a thing like that? There's the problem with those religious people. But you have to understand there's a very, very deep message over here. And that is that the land of Israel is not just a physical land. The land of Israel is not even a spiritual land. The land of Israel is God's land. And a lot of people wrote to the Rebbe and they wanted to make ALIYA to Israel. I saw one letter in particular. And the Rebbe said, okay, you have four preparations you have to make. If you haven't got these four, then don't go. Step number one, the land of Israel is a holy land. You have to prepare yourself. You have to prepare yourself to go to the land of Israel. If nothing other than just preparing yourself for the holiness of the land of Israel. The land of Israel will certainly contribute and help you to make yourself holy, but you have to make yourself holy. Don't expect you can just go there and buy a house and live there because it's a Jewish place and it's our heritage or whatever. No, that's very nice, but that's not the whole thing. Israel is a holy land. Holy land is not really part of the world. It's not really a country like every other country. It's a holy country. Holy country. So you have to make yourself holy, or at least start in that direction. Step number one. Number two, you have to not weaken the place that you're leaving. It could be that where you are a good influence, and by leaving your place, as the people there will they'll suffer. And the Rebbe gave an example. He said that there were a lot of Jews living in Morocco, and the Israeli government came to they wanted Jews to come up from Morocco. They wanted to come to Israel. So they went to the rabbis and they promised them all sorts of promises. And they said, you come to the land of Israel and all of your congregations will follow. And they convinced them and they went, and their congregations did not follow. Their congregations were left without leaders. And said the Rebbe, most of them went to France and they became not religious. They married non-Jews. So by leaving the place, you're weakening the place from where you're coming. Number two. Number three, you have to contribute to the land of Israel. Physically, whatever. Spiritually, you have to contribute something to the land of Israel, to the people of Israel, the place of Israel. And number four, you should not be dependent on the government of Israel for your needs. Don't weaken the place of Israel. You shouldn't go there in order to receive benefits or whatever. That's what they were. So, in other words, the land of Israel is a different land. You want to come to Israel, you have to make preparations. That's what the Rebbe is saying. You want to go to Israel, make here Israel. Increase holiness. Okay, so the Rebbe said, okay, I just gave a nice explanation. Says the Rebbe, I don't really accept all those explanations. So we have to understand that. Israel, that the Rebbe really said, make here the land of Israel. According to the law, he's outside of Israel. The Torah, everything goes according to the Torah. How can you say make the city of Lubavitch Israel? It's not. He's outside of Israel. What are you trying to fake it? You're going to make a big synagogue or a big build a holy temple in where is it, in Kiev or somewhere. You can't do that. Shlemut Avoda, the whole completion of Torah and the commandments of the Jewish people, is only when all the Jews are in the physical land of Israel. Like the rabbis say. You can't make Israel outside of Israel. You can't do that. What did the Tzemach Tzedek say to him? The land of Israel is a holy place. Even when you're in the time of exile, we Jews, we pray, and our faces, we face Israel, and we pray 3 times a day, every weekday. God, please gather us together from the 4 corners of the world and bring us to your land, and etc. And especially our last generation, in the last times, right? Recently, says the Rebbe, in the last moments, right just before this Farbrengen, Shalafi calls somebody that right now, according to all the signs that the Maimonides writes of the future redemption that we're awaiting, as he named Moshiach Bo, nevertheless we are praying, please God, take us out of, gather us from the world and bring us to Israel. So how can you say make here Israel? We're not talking. We don't want to go to Israel. They're not interested in going to Israel anymore. How could that be? That was one of the big things of the reform. At least that's what I was told. The reform, they said that's why the reform have their whatever synagogues, whatever you want to call it, they're called temples, because they said here's our temple. Right? Berlin is, what is it? Germany is our Israel, and Berlin is Jerusalem. Wherever they moved, we don't need the Israel, the Messiah temple. We don't need all that stuff. But here is Israel. Judaism is a movement. That's a whatever you want to call it. How could the Tzemach Tzedek was agreeing with them? God forbid. What are you talking about? How could the Tzemach Tzedek possibly say, make here in Lubavitch, make here Israel? But and especially in 1 second after he said this, Yotzim Kavar Miagalut Hochim Eretz Yisrael Kapashuto. Right now we are. What did the Tzemach say? Make here Israel. What does it mean? He wasn't waiting for us, for all the Hasidim to leave Lubavitch and go to Israel. Of course he was. So how could he say make here Israel? What you don't want to move? You want to stay here? This is Israel? That's so. How could he say that? And especially because he was waiting that any second everyone would leave where they were and they would go actually to Israel. So how could he tell a Hasid, right? Make here Israel. Okay, but of course the Tzemach Tzedek did not make a mistake. So let's see what he was talking about. We can understand, first of all, from our Torah portion. What does it say in our Torah portion? Our Torah portion talks about excuse me, dividing the land of Israel. It says the land of Israel is divided al pi agoral, according to the lots. Now the word al pi means on the mouth of. Peh is a mouth. Al pi agoral, according to lots. Like I explained to you, right? There were 2 boxes, and one box was 12, 12, what is it, cards. And on the other one was 12, the names of the tribes, and they pulled them out, and they said, okay, area number 1 goes to Zvulun. Area number 3 goes to Yisachar. They would pull them out. Like it says in the Parsha, and Rashi explains that what? Al pi goral, that the goral would speak. That the lots themselves would call out. The lot itself would scream out, Savach, and would say, Ani goral, I am the lot of whatever it is, of Asher, and I am in such, my area represents here, and I go to the tribe of Asher. He would yell out. The tribe. Okay, why do you have to have such a weird miracle like that? I mean, everybody can see that this is number 12 and this is the tribe. What do you have to yell out for? You have to understand, Tom, the reason and what is the benefit from this seemingly meaningless miracle. God does not make miracles for nothing. God doesn't just show off. It's not like doing card tricks in the middle of the avenue or something. Madua Imkain, why is it God is making this miracle with the lots called out? It could have been Benogea Lechalukat Oretz, Gavul Ploni Leshevet Ploni. It could have been that the land of Israel would be divided up among the different tribes, Al Pi Agorel, just according to the lots, as they are in everywhere, without any miracles. What did the miracle add on? What was the point? Right? Everyone was gathered around. You see, here's 12 goes to Asher. Here, Asher, you take your lots, take them. Go show your people. Okay, next, here we have area number 5. That goes to the tribe of, Benjamin. Benjamin, okay, take the 2 lots and go show your tribe. So what did the lot have to scream out for? What was the purpose? Why did it have to scream out? Even though that God wanted to show the Jewish people that the lots were true and that they were big miracles, and it wasn't just, by chance. Hari al-Zen, there already was a miracle before, that God, that the miracle was Haya al-Pi Ruach HaKodesh. There was a miracle before this. What was the miracle? It says, Elazar HaKohen, he would put on the Urim and the Tumim. Urim and the Tumim was the breastplate that had these different stones in it. And they would shine up, and he would say Baruch HaKodesh, and then he would announce with a prophetic spirit, he would say, Im Shevet Poloni Ola Tachum Poloni Ola Imo. It says he would tell where the lands were and which tribe goes into the lands. So it was already announced by Elazar Kohen which land would go to which place. And then afterwards they pulled out the lots, and it just verified what had already been said. So this showed the Jewish people that the lots were true and honest. Why, if so, did the lots themselves have to scream out? What's the purpose? Says the Rebbe, the purpose is like this. Since that God commanded that only, ach means only by lots should the land be divided up. In other words, don't rely on what Elazar said. I want you to pull lots also. Al pia gorel techalek nachalato. According to lots, the land should be divided up. Like a lottery, right? A lottery, that's what it's called, lots. Lottery. Not like a car lot. A lot, lots, the cards. Like it says, or it's begorel. Like it says, you should divide the land up and inhabit the land according to lots. So this is a sentence in the Torah. God wanted it to be divided up, davka, specifically by means of lots. Ach means only. The lo b'ofen acher, no other way. Therefore, the dividing of the land and the clarification of which portion, which goes to which tribe, it had to be by means of this lot itself and not by means of anything else. Therefore, we can say that lochen gama birur be'emitit inyan agorel. Therefore, the verification according to by the lots, it had to be through the lot itself. In other words, the lots were not just a means to divide the land up. The lots themselves were an end in themselves. The Gorel, therefore, the lot itself would call out. Huh? It's something like, let's say you have something important you want to do. Let's say a person wants to get married. So he gets married. So he looks, he finds a bride, he finds this. But the goal is to get married. That's the whole thing of getting married, right? Says the Rebbe, not exactly. The goal is every single second. Every single instant itself is a goal. Things are not only, things exist in themselves. Everything in itself is infinitely important, even though it has a purpose to bring to something else seemingly more important than it. But don't, how do you say, underestimate the value of every instant, of every person, of everything, even though it happens to be just a chance thing. It just happened to be. No, says the Rebbe, the dividing up of the land of Israel was dividing it up. All you had to have was the Kohen. Elazar could stand up and say, okay, Asher, you take this area. Yisachar, you take this area. right? God, you take this area. He could have just said, and he did say, but then what would it mean? It would mean that the goal is to divide the land up. And then there's things in the middle. You have to, they're not important. Says the Rebbe, no. God is trying to show the Jews that everything, every step to do a good thing itself, that every step is also important. Therefore, the lot itself called out. Because if there's any doubt, if the lot maybe was just accidental, and maybe you have to have something else, for instance, prophecy or whatever. So Bechdela wrote to show that the lots are true and that the lots are exact. Harizem more, this shows that the lots themselves, Eino Poel Etash Chaluka Be'eretz Yisrael B'Shlemut. The lots themselves, you might think they don't have a real infinite importance in themselves. Therefore, the lot itself would yell out. Why? Because by means of this, that the lot itself showed that it itself was a necessary, important step in the dividing of the land. It wasn't just a means, it could have been something else. So you have to say that the lot itself said clearly this is where. Oh, so that's something that at least we began. This is something like what the Tzemach Tzedek said to his pupil, right? Make here the land of Israel. It doesn't mean that Lubavitch is Israel. What it means is Lubavitch is a step to going to Israel, yes, but the step itself is infinitely important. Don't devaluate the exile that the Jewish people are in. Don't say that's just a terrible thing, that's a punishment, let's forget about it. Right? It's meaningless. It's not meaningless. Every instant of our lives is meaningful, important, infinite, just like these lots were. That's what they're coming to show, because when they came to the land of Israel, they're going to deal with the physical world to show that every detail of the physical world is infinitely important and infinitely, how do you say, real and lasting. It doesn't go away just because the previous second is gone. Maybe to you it's gone, but to God, because we're living in this little tiny, the world of a temporal world where the now is just this little instant of nothingness, right? But by God, it's not so. If you do something that's really real, it's eternal. And that's you that did it. It's your life. That's the secret of the raising of the dead. We'll talk about. Anyway, says the Rebbe, nevertheless, we still don't understand it. And the fact of the matter is that the lots were not a thing in themselves. They were only a means to divide up the land. Also, the same thing that the lots screamed out, it wasn't a thing on its own. This is just a secondary thing at first. This just indicated, this has verified the choice that the lot made, or to advertise it. But the lots were just a means to something else. The lots weren't infinitely important, right? Says the Rebbe. Says not right. Why does it make any difference what the land of Israel divided up, how it's done? Why does it so? What do we care? The main thing is it was divided up. That's the main thing, is the goal, not the means. Right? Says the Rebbe, wrong. And this is what we're going to talk about more, God willing, tomorrow. In other words, simple language, every instant of our life is infinitely important. And that does not detract at all from the fact that we're living only in order to bring Moshiach and reveal true infinite goodness in the world. And the fact is that every step of that is also infinitely important, as we'll talk about more, God willing, tomorrow. Now let's have the